Part 2 for the managed modem, detailed call flows or detailed provisioning.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the detailed flow of the data going through the whole piece parts of the managed modem and the apexes, the radius, the databases, and the provisioning that is part of this whole thing. The normal calls, you have a switch that the customer is connected to. So we have a customer that is connected to the switch, places a call through the switch, and they want to get onto the network. So they go through the switch, they go into the apex. The apex then sends via the radius protocol to the radius servers. The radius servers then look at it, and we do what we're only doing in our network. We're doing pre-authorization, only to pre-authorize whether they are allowed to be on the network, period. We don't authorize them to get onto the internet. That is the provider that we get the request from. So we have a customer, and the customer is a provider such as UOL, could be AOL, could be any ISP. So our customer is an ISP.
Okay.
So the call comes from the ISP, comes into our switch, goes through a trunk group that's connected to. So this is a trunk group that's connected to the apex. The apex through the IP network connects to the radius server. The radius server then looks up in the database. The database is a separate, is normally a separate server. It's actually a separate process. It's nothing more than a small Oracle database. This Oracle database then is used, the radius then queries the database to see if that customer is allowed on the network.
Does each radius server have its own database server?
Yes.
Okay.
If there's a pair, there's one
database.
For a pair.
Okay.
For a pair, yes.
Kind of that defines a pair.
Right. Now we have some anomalies in that we've got 3 servers up in Washington, up in Bellingham, Tacoma, and Seattle. They have their radius server and the database all in one server together.
Okay.
And there's only one in each side.
Okay.
And things. But those are unusual.
Okay.
So.
What is the reason for having those remotely and not in
Because we're required by the Public Utilities Commission in Washington.
Okay.
We have to have equipment on site.
Okay.
Transmitting the calls.
Okay. Understood.
So
that's the reason.
It's all done because of
regulatory purposes.
Regulatory purposes, yes. Correct. So anyway, it looks up in this database, this Oracle database, and then returns from the database through the radius server to the apex, yes or no, whether this customer is allowed on the network. If it is yes, then it goes all the way back to the switch, to the customer. The customer then says, okay, then they, at that point, then they prompt for the username and password and all that stuff to log in and get it onto the network. Once they do that, then this goes back down. We go back down to the apex here, and it goes out to the internet, the big I.
Okay.
At that point. Okay, now this is just the normal call for somebody that's already provisioned on this.
Okay.
Now, to provision a customer on this, we've got over in the corporate side of the house, we've got a database. I think I don't know what, I think it's a Sybase, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it's just a database. They have a user interface that is off of it to do the provisioning, provides the templates and so forth, and all the algorithms to determine what they need and asks them for all the information needed. It puts it into this database, then at regular intervals, when this has flags in it to be updated, then it goes out and sends the updates to the database in here in Stockton only.
Okay.
So that's very important. This database only talks to our Stockton database.
Okay.
And so the provisioning takes place here. This immediately goes out that same, within minutes usually, or within so forth, it will then update the Stockton. But we have all these other databases such as Rochester, New York, we have Texas, we have Bellingham, we've got Tacoma, and all those have to be updated also.
Okay.
Between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning, then this server takes and dumps its database and sends it out to Rochester, to the Texas servers, which is San Antonio and Dallas.
Okay.
And then all the Washington servers.
Okay.
So we have Seattle, Bellingham, and we have Tacoma.
And who has access to the user interface on the primary provisioning database?
Be somebody like Sue does it right now.
Okay.
Sue Freaky is one of them that does it. There's other people in the provisioning group. I have never been part of this, so I can't speak to it
Okay.
a whole lot of things, but I just know that it's there.
Okay.
And this is a database that's in the corporate side
Okay.
of the house.
Okay.
Before last week,
Okay.
I didn't get involved with this server at all.
Okay.
And things, but now that we're becoming more and more one
Yeah.
and things, I'm getting involved with these things now.
So, apart from this provisioning, somebody has to also provision the switch to forward it over to the apexes there, right?
Right. There's provisioning that has to go on for the numbers and stuff in here
To go to the apex.
to go to the apex.
Okay. So these apexes, recently there was an issue with one of the apex not able to talk to a radio server and repointed. So does that happen very often, apex, that we repoint the apex to different radio server?
Yes. The fact is, we have a case right now where we've got a problem in Texas with the radius servers in Texas. And so these Texas radius servers, we've got one of them that appears to be dead. The other one appears to be okay, but what we've done is we've taken the apexes and we've actually pointed the Texas apexes to Los Angeles radius servers.
Okay.
Because all the radius servers, the databases in all sites are mirrored.
Okay.
So we can point them anywhere we want.
It's a matter of load distribution.
Right.
Because the data is unique. It's just a matter of load distribution.
Right. So we're just trying to, and this gives us a lot of flexibility that, so if we have a problem such as we've got in Texas, we don't have to have an emergency fix on something. We can just point the apexes someplace else, and calls continue flowing.
Okay.
We don't get interrupted with anything, and then we can work on the servers, work on the systems at our leisure. It's not as hot.
Okay, got it. Well, thank you, Ryan.